So in comics, we do have quite a few mentorships, especially because in these universes, we have sidekicks and how they look up to their mentor to become a better hero. Now, these characters I'm going to list, they don't have to be the sidekick of the mentorship. Sometimes it's just friends or someone looking out for them to make them better or understand the problems that they're facing and just become a stronger hero in general. So I would love to see your list too. Make sure to list some mentorships that really just resonate with you and you can understand their relationship really well. And let's get into my list right now. So starting off my list is probably one of the newest ones, which is Dick and John, aka Superman's son and Nightwing. And this is kind of fresh. This is kind of new. This is kind of just coming into the universe now, and mostly Nightwing's run by Tom Taylor, but also John's run a little bit. And it makes sense because Superman was basically Dick's idol. You know, like he loves Bruce, but Superman is kind of who he looked up to. And in a lot of ways, Superman looks up to Nightwing because of how good of a person he is, how kind-hearted he is. So when he leaves John, he really goes to Dick and asks him to look out for his son, which makes total sense. And Nightwing, being the nicest hero in the world, says no problem. And he does look out for John. He kind of trains him to be a better hero. Even though John is vastly superior in strength and speed, Nightwing has the experience and the heart. And that transfers to John the more they work together. I just really like this relationship. It is very brotherly feel, and Nightwing is just a great brother, to be honest. Another one that started mostly in the New 52, but also carried over to the Rebirth, is Green Arrow, aka Oliver, and Emmy, who eventually becomes Red Arrow. Now, Green Arrow's not the greatest mentorship, especially to Roy. He fucked up, and I really enjoy that because Oliver wasn't that old when he trained Roy, but what he did, leaving him behind at his lowest point, was screwed up. And I think a lot of people acknowledge that, including Oliver himself in most of his stories. He really does look deep inside himself to wonder why he did what he did to Roy, and I think he grew from that. Oliver is a very flawed person because while he has a heart of gold at time, he also is kind of a fuck up. And I just like that balance. So when he has a sister, he kind of sees a second chance. Now, he did mentorship other characters as well before this, but I feel like Emmy and him have one of my favorite relationships as brother and sister. You don't really get too much of that in this kind of universe, the brother and sister dynamic. And I just really enjoy seeing them work together and kind of how Oliver trains her both in physical, but also mental and also just loving. So nice to see a brother-sister connection, but also a great mentorship for these characters. And my number 3 is Cassandra and Barbara, aka Batgirls. So when Cassandra becomes the next Batgirl, and it's been a long time at that point in the universe that there's another Batgirl, because Barbara becomes Oracle, this is a big moment for Cassandra. And what I love about this is Cassandra really looks up to Barbara in such a heartfelt way, but also in such a respectful way. She wants to learn so much from Barbara. At the same time, she acknowledges Barbara's handicap. And what's really great is that it doesn't matter to her. She sees Barbara as one of the greatest inspirations to be. And this is what I love about Cassandra, that she is pure-hearted. This is one of the most physically capable fighters in the DC universe, more so than even Bruce at times. And to have her respect Barbara is such a great moment. And Barbara at first was very defensive of her even taking the cow, and as they grew closer, they almost became like sisters. And watching her kind of take care of her as a big sister, again, is a dynamic I really love. So while Barbara can't physically do what she used to at Batgirl when they first came along, she mentally prepares Cassandra to fight better, to be better as a hero. And Cassandra takes that very, very serious. So I love this relationship. Barbara basically makes Cassandra be more human, while Cassandra also respects Barbara, and Barbara loves her for that. So I love this dynamic, very sisterly loving, but also a great way to show how to help someone get through trauma, with Cassandra helping Barbara get through her past, but also Barbara getting Cassandra through her past, since she was basically raised to be just the weapon. So my number 2 is Wally and Barry, and this one's pretty funny because Wally was Barry's biggest fan of all time in terms of being the Flash. He loved the Flash so much, he wanted to be him, and then Wally became Kid Flash. And this dynamic is just kind of cute in a way in the beginning. It's very, very funny, and it's just kind of, oh, look at that. And he does become a great sidekick as Kid Flash. When Wally eventually has to become a man after what happens to Barry, the shift in tone of him growing up and just becoming more respected in the universe of heroes is great, but it's that chemistry that began it that makes Wally's growth so major. So I actually really like the beginning of their relationship, and when Barry passes away after dying, Wally kind of just has to be his own man, so you don't get that dynamic that much for almost 20 years, even more than that. However, when Barry returns, now you have this dynamic of true respect, and it's not brotherly respect. It is uncle, and it is his uncle, since Iris would be Wally's aunt. So it really feels great to have that uncle-nephew dynamic. Again, one that you very rarely see, and one that really works. So you have that love there as someone who wants to take care of someone younger than them, as a kid, as not a sibling, but as a family member. But then you get the respect that they're both the Flash. They're both extremely powerful beings, and they both respect each other's power set and work together. So all of that just really accumulates to such a good storyline of two respected heroes. And for me, I'm a much bigger fan of Wally than Barry, but I love that they respect each other equally. It just works really well in this universe. And my number one has to be Dick and Damian. Again, Nightwing becomes one of my favorite mentorship relationships, more so than Damian and Bruce, which I do love as father and son. But man, when I read Damian and I read Dick as Batman and Robin, something about it is so special. Something about this bond works so well because it's different. Bruce never feels like he has to prove himself as Batman, whereas Dick feels like he has to prove himself as the new Batman while Bruce is gone. And Damian, just getting to know his father, is now ripped away and really doesn't respect Dick at first. But the way that they work together, fight together and fight together, and then they also become a team together, is magical. The respect that they get for each other, not just Damian for Dick, who he eventually sees as Batman and as a big brother, but the respect that Dick has for Damian to be a true warrior and know that the kid is hurting. It's just so damn good. I really love this relationship, and it does carry on beyond that moment, the pre-New 52 Batman and Robin. You do get moments of them together, one of my favorite being later on in Tom King's run, where both Damian's waiting outside for his father and mother in the tomb, and Nightwing comes, and Dick just sits next to him, he's just like, I'll sit here with you, don't worry, and he's like, thank you. And it's just like that brotherly love, man, there's very little that matches it in my opinion. So yeah, this relationship of brothers, but also mentorship and helping each other get through the pain of losing Bruce for both of them, absolutely magnificent. One of the best teams I've ever had, and one of my favorite mentorships in all of comics. And that's my list. Now, there are a lot of mentorships out there. There's ones that I personally think are better than others, and these are my 5 that I really do enjoy. But there's plenty that you can probably choose from, and I would love to see some that you want to list below. And if you have any that are just odd or weird, or ones that you think are good but a lot of people don't like, list those. Forget it. Put the ones that you really enjoy as a mentorship. Everybody, I want you to have a wonderful day. I hope you like this video. If you do, remember to hit the like button, because that just means a lot to me. But if you could subscribe too, if you haven't, that would also mean the world, because I got more content coming out. And everybody, go pick up a good comic and start reading. What else is there to do today? Unless you have work, then I guess you gotta do that, or school, but go read a good comic.